The saloon's piano stopped playing the moment she said it. Every man in the dusty room froze, cups halfway to their lips, cards forgotten in mid-hand. "You paid for me, now do it," she said again, her voice trembling but loud enough to cut through the thick haze of cigar smoke. The cowboy didn't move. His hand hovered near his hat brim, eyes fixed on the woman standing under the yellow lamp. Her dress, once white, was stained from travel. Her lips were chapped, her hair tangled. But her eyes, green, sharp as glass, held a defiance that even the whiskey couldn't dull. "You don't mean that," he muttered, low and dangerous. "Oh, I do," she shot back. "You paid Sheriff Barlow $50 for me like I was a horse. So finish it, cowboy. Do whatever you plan to do." The men laughed, nervous and eager. The cowboy's jaw tightened. He wasn't used to being humiliated, especially not by a woman who had just been sold off like a piece of property. He stood slowly, the chair creaking behind him. "What's your name?" "Clara." "Well, Clara," he said, tossing a coin on the table, "you're not what I paid for. I paid for the truth." The room went silent again. Sheriff Barlow's grin faded. "Now, what the hell's that supposed to mean, McGraw?" The cowboy, Jack McGraw, turned to the sheriff. His hand rested on the gun at his hip. "Means I know you've been selling prisoners off instead of sending them east for trial." She wasn't no outlaw. She was bait. Clara's face went pale. Barlow's laughter came out rough and fake. "You got proof of that, cowboy?" "I do," Jack said quietly, "in the form of her." And then he drew. The sound of gunfire shattered the silence, 3 shots, fast as lightning. Barlow stumbled back, red blooming across his chest. His deputies reached for their guns, but Clara dove for the floor, rolling under a table. When the smoke cleared, only Jack was left standing, his revolver still warm. He turned to her, breathing hard. "Let's get you out of here." Outside, the night air was cold and sharp. Clara's hands trembled as she climbed onto the horse behind him. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yeah," he said grimly, "I did." They rode through the empty streets, past the broken lamps and shuttered stores, until the town disappeared behind them. Only the sound of the horses' hooves echoed across the desert. After an hour, she spoke again. "Why'd you buy me?" He didn't answer for a long time. The moonlight painted his face silver, hard and unreadable. "Because," he said finally, "you were screaming when I walked by that jailhouse. And no woman screams like that unless she's innocent or dying. I've heard both kinds." She went quiet. They camped by the edge of a dry creek bed, where the wind carried the smell of sagebrush and rain that never came. He built a small fire, offered her a tin cup of water. She took it, hands still shaking. "You don't know what you've done, cowboy. Enlighten me." Sheriff Barlow was working for someone worse. "They'll come after you now. You killed one man, but there's a dozen more who'll want revenge." He leaned back, staring into the fire. "Let him come." She studied him, the scar running across his jaw, the exhaustion buried deep in his eyes. "You don't fear death much, do you?" "Not anymore," he said quietly. "Lost that fear a long time ago. And the truth you said you paid for." He looked at her then, really looked. "That's what I came for. To find out who you were. Why a woman like you ended up in that cage." Her lips parted, but the words came out slow, heavy. "I was framed. I was a schoolteacher in Mesa Ridge. The sheriff said I stole gold from the stage line, but it was his doing. I tried to tell the judge, never got the chance." "Why didn't you run?" "I did," she whispered. "He caught me. Sold me to the next man who'd pay." Jack's hand curled into a fist. "You were supposed to hang tomorrow." She nodded, tears glistening in the firelight. "And now I'm here, with a stranger who killed for me." He didn't reply. The fire cracked between them, filling the silence with ghosts neither wanted to name. By dawn, the sound of hoofbeats came. Jack woke instantly, hand on his gun. Dust clouds rose on the horizon, riders. 4, maybe 5, he cursed under his breath. "Stay down," he ordered. Clara grabbed his arm. "You can't take them alone. I've done worse." She looked at him, desperation in her eyes. "Then let me help." He almost laughed. "With what?" She pulled a small derringer from under her dress. "I may look helpless, cowboy, but I'm not." He grinned despite the danger. "All right, teacher. Let's see what you've got." The riders approached fast, gunmen with black hats and dead eyes. The leader shouted, "McGraw. Hand her over, and we'll let you live." Jack stood tall, thumb brushing the revolver's hammer. "You're welcome to try." The fight was short and brutal. Gunfire echoed through the canyon. Jack dropped 2 before they reached the rocks. Clara fired once, clean shot to the chest of the third. The fourth turned tail, fleeing into the dust. When it was over, she was breathing hard, dress torn, hair wild. He looked at her and said softly, "You shoot better than most men I know." She smiled faintly. "And you ride better than most angels." They buried the dead quickly. Neither spoke for a while. Days passed. They followed the river north, keeping to the shadows of the canyons. He learned she liked coffee strong and stories darker. She learned he once had a wife, years ago, taken by fever before their first anniversary. "Guess I stopped believing in happy endings after that," he said one night. She looked into the firelight. "Maybe you just stopped looking." He chuckled. "You're something else, Clara. And you're something I didn't expect to find, kindness." He turned to her, startled. "Kindness? You could have left me in that cage," she said. "But you didn't." He didn't answer. But when she laid her hand over his, he didn't pull away. They reached Mesa Ridge a week later. The town was small, quiet, built around a single church and a windmill. Clara wanted to go to the marshal, tell her story, clear her name. Jack went with her. When the marshal read Barlow's records and the confession letter found on one of the dead gunmen, he nodded solemnly. "Looks like you're free, ma'am." The charges were false. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She turned to Jack, who stood near the door, hat in hand. "Then I guess this is goodbye." He nodded slowly. "You'll be safe here." "Safe isn't the same as happy." He hesitated. "You deserve better than a man like me." "Maybe I just deserve a choice," she said softly. "And I'm choosing to stay." Jack's breath caught. "You sure about that?" She stepped closer, her fingers brushing his. "You paid for me, Jack. But you gave me something money can't buy, freedom. Now let me give you something back." He stared at her, the words stuck in his throat. She leaned in and kissed him, soft at first, then full of everything neither of them had said. When she pulled away, her voice trembled. "You did it, cowboy. You found love." He smiled faintly. "Didn't even know I was looking." Months later, travelers passing through Mesa Ridge would sometimes see them. Jack McGraw, the quiet man with the scarred jaw, and Clara, the schoolteacher who carried a tiny pistol in her boot. They'd say she tamed him. Others said he saved her. But those who saw the way they looked at each other, when the sun fell behind the hills and the sky turned gold, knew the truth. They didn't just survive the West. They found each other in it. And that, in the end, was the most dangerous miracle of all.